I don't know. They didn't say like drug treatment. They didn't say mental health treatment. I suspect it's...
Did you post a picture?
Not from the treatment. But no pictures were attached. But if they do, I'll send it to you.
While Melyssa Ford is away, Joe Budden and Marc Lamont Hill appear to be making fun of her. Although they are merely jokes, they offer some insight into their true emotions. First, there's a little segment in the podcast where they discuss someone getting hurt and other things, but the team or someone seems to be keeping it a secret. Did they take a picture? Asks Joe. He most likely believes Melyssa Ford did that out of sympathy, as it is clearly a reference to her snapping a photo while she was bedridden in the hospital. He most likely believes that a play is taking place. Please ensure that this information is added to the files. What do you suppose is happening there? Aside from the fact that he believes she is attempting to support a victim narrative, why would Joe say that, given the delicate nature of the situation? The scene where Marc Lamont is sporting a Legend Killer shirt is a little less serious. As everyone is aware, Drake would refer to Melyssa Ford as a legend from the Six. Is that a subliminal hint that, well, Legend is no longer with us? She is dead. She has passed away. It's finished. We'll have to wait and see. The day after or shortly after the show, Marc Lamont did mention that he hadn't spoken to her because, she wasn't on it. She's most likely missing with Mark too, or it might be a plot point. The Molly Come ESPN part follows, in which they talk about Molly leaving ESPN and how they, or Joe, would respond if someone were to leave the cast.
Yeah. Am I taking notes on that?
Yeah. Like if one of us were to depart.
Although I mentioned it in the last video, I think Marc Lamont essentially posed the question because he was aware that Melyssa Ford might be leaving soon. In addition, they discussed the conversation from tonight. Recall that Melyssa Ford will be tonight's discussion.
Both. They must smell blood in the water up here.
It appears that she is getting close to that brand. She has done a lot of work on the show on the gender battles, so why not do it for another platform where she can finally talk and possibly earn money from tour tickets and other things? I do wonder how the visitors are compensated for tonight's conversations. Given that Mandy is on it, I suppose it's as though they receive a portion of the door. Ish was on it once, I believe. They must be dissecting it in a manner that is likely more open than other podcasts. I'm simply curious, although I might be mistaken. Then, approximately an hour into the show, Joe cracks the flip lawsuit joke.
Wherever you was, you pressing charges?
Is he implying that his podcast listeners are suing him or are considering doing so? We must consider it because there is a lot of talk about lawsuits and such matters, and we will have to wait and see if it ever reaches that stage. The last notion, however, was provided by Ancient, like the Abacus, one of my Patreon members, and isn't discussed in the episode. He stated, "This is what he said on my Patreon, albeit I might be misrepresenting that. Bro, I did some digging," he said. "Melyssa was allegedly charged with making terroristic threats, threatening immediate death, and communicating in a way that caused panic in a previous case from December 2024. In July, the case, which is still pending, was moved from Edgewater to Little Ferry, New Jersey. Additionally, there has been some action regarding Joe's case with his neighbors, with whom she became involved in. That is sound science now. A special thanks to the Patreon users. Could Melyssa Ford's absence be related to the fact that she was unable to be at the condo where the records are kept because she is involved in the case Joel's neighbors have against him related to the sleepwalking incident? That would make sense given that everyone is claiming that she is filming a movie and everyone is claiming that they informed us in advance that Melyssa Ford would be absent for a while. Is it because she is unable to enter the building? That is a novel hypothesis that I have not heard of, and it would encompass several hypotheses that cover many of the existing storylines. Additionally, there is an addendum stating that she is unable to appear because she is locked out of the studio. That she's now saying, damn, these guys are actually moving on while I'm unable to access the studio. Up there, they're bringing up nasty girls who could easily take my place, and here I am, I became sucked into something. I have to check to see if this is accurate now. I had to exercise due diligence on my own. However, I do recall the neighbors suing Melyssa Ford specifically. What did Melyssa Ford do, I wonder? How did she act? Since she was the second most well-known person at the time, I initially believed they were just throwing her into the case. At that time, Margam Hill had probably only started working there in December 2024. However, what is happening? What specifics are involved? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. To sum up, in light of Melyssa Ford's absence, a number of tea leaves are being prepared for us. Joe Budden commented on the photograph that was posted after someone posted a photo from the hospital. I wondered if she was truly ill and if that was a bad joke, but Joe said it, and I believe he said it because he believes she is attempting to elicit sympathy. Next is the Molly Curran discussion, which is another that we need to be on guard. The flip lawsuit comment follows, along with the chat dates for tonight. They claim to have noticed the poster for the conversation and thought, yo, some of those dates conflict with the pod. Last but not least, there was the possibility that Melyssa Ford was connected to the case involving Joe's neighbors, and that she had a follow-up case related to the conflict that arose between her and the residents at the condo where Joe lived. As I have stated numerous times, I do not believe that this is sufficient for anything. Being satisfied with everything isn't a lie. That simply indicates that we will work on the content, which will be the most crucial aspect. However, I believe that something is off here. Melyssa Ford is no longer on the show. Many others were retaliating against me, saying things like, Danny, it's not the fourth quarter. Don't misunderstand, the fourth quarter does really begin in October. In a metaphorical sense, the fourth quarter has begun. You see Dame Dash on The Breakfast Club for that reason. You witness Cam eject Broner from the studio for that reason. A show's exposure greatly depends on all of these antics. Additionally, you must at least grease the wheel before you can get the fourth quarter off to a great start. Additionally, Joe's inability to establish chemistry with his current ensemble is making things a little dry at the moment. So what will you do? Will you put Ash, the new female, on the show, and Bona and Don't Call Me White Girl in this kind of awkward situation? I've never met any of you. The fourth quarter is here. You are preparing for the upcoming fourth quarter. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out, because the third quarter is practically the end of the fourth. The science should be left in the comments. Tell me your thoughts on Mark donning the Legend Killer shirt. God, please. Participating in each of these jokes as well. I can tell you that Mark is a cunning individual. He's taking the photos that he does, and I don't know how he and Melyssa Ford are this cool. I find it really strange, but perhaps that is simply the way Melyssa Ford and Mark interact. Additionally, Joe seems tired of whatever Melyssa Ford is doing, and perhaps Melyssa Ford is simply too naive to realize that Mark is putting her under the bus.